Today in this video, I will be showing you how to replace a blend door actuator in a truck. Your blend door actuator controls the movement of the blend doors, which regulates the mix of hot and cold air inside your cabin. To know if your blend door actuator has gone bad, if you change your temp from a hot to cold and you hear a ticking sound coming from behind your dash, it's a pretty good sign that your actuator has gone bad. If it sounds like it's skipping teeth. The tools I use to get to it and replace it are a magnet. I had some picks to undo some of the electrical connections. I had a 1/4 inch ratchet with a 3-inch extension and a 7 and 8 mil socket. I also used a bit ratchet, a needle nose pliers, a extra deep needle nose pliers, some trim removal tools, and a body rivet pry bar, but I used that more or less as a metal trim removal tool. First step is to remove the black sink trim panel from the bottom and disconnect the electrical connections. Once you do that, you will find a 7 mil bolt which you will have to remove. There are 2 more 7 mil bolts on top underneath the rubber that you will also have to remove. Once those are removed, you can use your trim tools to pry the trim away from that center console piece. Once you do that, it should be able to pop right out. Once out, you'll have to disconnect all your electrical connections. Make sure you press in the tabs if they have any, as to not break them, which will hinder you later. After you remove that panel, you'll notice there are 4 more 7 mil bolts holding in your CD player. You'll have to remove those. Once those are removed, your radio should just pull right out, and you can let it hang from the cords while you continue the work. And your part should be right there back to the right. To remove the part, it is 2 8 mil bolts that you'll have to get to. The first one is easy and it's right up front. The one on the other side of your actuator is a little bit harder to get to. That's why I used a bit ratchet with a 8 mil socket on it, which works just fine to get to it. Once you take all the screws out, you can just pop it straight up, making sure not to damage anything else. And once you get it out, you can use a pick to disconnect the electrical connection. New versus old. You want to make sure you line up the teeth to fit into the hole as to not be off. There is a missing tooth on both of them. That is your alignment. Making sure you connect your electrical connections back in and pressing that red locking tab to make sure it doesn't come disconnected. Once the new one is in, it is just replacing the 2 8 mil bolts you took out before. Once it is installed, you can put your radio back in. There is a little knob on the back that locks into the metal piece on the frame. You will feel it click in. Once it clicks in, you are able to put in your 7 mil bolts. Once your bolts are in, you can start reconnecting all your electrical. Just make sure your electrical connections are orientated the right way or they will not fit. And make sure you plug in the right connector to the right receptacle. Once your electrical is all hooked up, you should be able to push it back into the plastic clip retaining clips. It may take some finagling, but it should be fairly easy. Once in, press firmly to make sure they are all connected. and then you can press in the plastic retaining clips on the side pieces. Once that is done, you can replace your black sink trim piece on the bottom of that panel. Make sure your electrical connections go to the right ones. Once that is done, you can then start putting your 7mm bolts back in to hold it into place. On the top rubber piece, there is a little lip that needs to sit in there, and it kind of clips in. Just make sure that it is all the way down, otherwise it will pop up on you. This is me testing to make sure that the new blend art actuator does in fact work.